So today we are discussing a speaking sample task, and this is divided into three parts. Generally, first part will have introduction and interview. That is, this part of the test begins with the examiner introducing himself or herself, and then checking the candidate's identification, some ID he will see, and then continues as an interview. So, how it starts? Let's talk about your hometown or village. What kind of place it is? What's the most interesting part of your town or village? What kind of jobs do the people in your town village do? Would you say it's a good place to live? Why? Then, once this is over, the other thing will be let's move on to talk about accommodation. Tell me about the kind of accommodation you live in, how long you lived there, have you lived there, and what do you like about living there, and what sort of accommodation would you like or most like to live in. So this is the part one, and as I indicated that some identification is seen by the examiner. And then how it goes, let me actually play it for you, and then you will realize how it goes right from the examiner, because whatever you see on the screen, you will listen also. So let us start.
In this first part, I'd like to ask you some more questions about yourself.
So this is how we are going to play. Please understand that I'm going to play the whole complete audio of the first part. So let us start.
Now, in this first part, I'd like to ask you some more questions about yourself. Okay? Let's talk about your hometown or village. What kind of place is it? It's quite a small village, about 20 kilometers from Zurich. And it's very quiet, and we have only two little shops, because most of the people work in Zurich or are orientated to the sea. What's the most interesting part of this place, the village? On the top of a hill we have a little castle, which is very old and quite well known in Switzerland. What kind of jobs do people in the village do? We have some farmers in the village, as well as people who work in Zurich as bankers or journalists, or there are also teachers and some doctors, some medicines. Would you say it's a good place to live? Yes, although it is very quiet, people are friendly, and I would say it's a good place to live there, yes. Let's move on to talk about accommodation. Tell me about the kind of accommodation you live in.
So this was the first part. Part one is over. Then we come down to part two, that is the individual long run. In this, candidate will have or will be provided a task card. This card describes something you own which is very important to you. This card will contain, this is a card actually, the rectangle shape is a card. So you should say where you got it from, how long you have had it, what you use it for, and then explain why it is important to you. So you will have 1 to 2 minutes to talk about this topic, and you have 1 minute to think about what you are going to say. And you can make some notes to help you if you wish. This is also possible. So rounding off questions on this task card would be, is it valuable in terms of money, or would it be easy to replace? So this is the actual transcript, and I'm going to play the transcript for you. This is part 2, individual long run. So please hear it.
Alright. Remember, you have 1 to 2 minutes for this, so don't worry if I stop you. I'll tell you when the time is up. Can you start speaking now, please? Yes. One of my of the most important things I have is my piano, because I like playing the piano. I got it from my parents to my 12th birthday, so I have it for about 9 years. And the reason why it is so important for me is that I can go into another world when I'm playing piano. I can forget what's around me and I can forget my problems, and this is sometimes quite good for a few minutes, or I can play to relax, or just, to relax and to think of something completely different.
Thank you. Would it be easy to replace this piano?
Yes, I think it wouldn't be that big problem. But I like my piano as it is, because I have it from my parents. It's some kind unique for me.
So this is the end of individual long run, and while I'm playing this, you must have heard that how the conversation is going on, and the candidate is stopping. Candidate is not well versed with English. He did speak, moderate level of English, but not that sound English he could speak. In the previous one also we saw that though he could speak English, moderately, but the content which he is trying to portray, or the answers which he is giving, is not up to the mark. In this case also it happened in the same manner. Now part 3 is two-way discussion. So let's consider first of all how people value have changed, like what kind of things give status to people in your country. Have things changed since your parent time? This is what the examiner is going to ask. And then finally, let's talk about the role of advertising. And then, do you think advertising influence what people buy? So this is the actual transcript which I'm going to play for you. This is the part 3 two-way discussion. So please hear it carefully, because what you're going to hear is given here also. Let me play it for you.
We've been talking about things we own, and I'd like to discuss with you one or two more general questions relating to this topic. First, let's consider values and the way they can change. In Switzerland, what kind of possessions do you think give status to people?
The first thing which comes in my mind is the car. Yes, because lots of people like to have posh cars or expensive cars to show their status, their place in the society.
Is that a new development?
No, I think it isn't.
People have thought like that for quite a long time.
Yes. Another thing is probably the clothing. It starts already when you are young. When the children go to school, they want to have posh labels on their jumpers or good shoes.
What do you think of this way of thinking? That I need to have a car or certain clothes to show my status?
Probably it's sometimes an replacement for something you don't have. So if your wife has left you or your girlfriend, you just buy some new watches or new clothes to make you satisfied again.
You don't think of it as a healthy way of thinking.
It's probably not honest to yourself.
Yeah. And do you think this will change?
No.
In the future, will cars and clothes, designer clothes, be status symbols in the same way?
I'm sure that the thing with the clothes will be the same. I'm not so sure with the cars, because cars cause lots of environmental problems, and probably in some few years, this will change, because it's not reasonable to drive a car anymore.
Tell me a little bit more about that.
So this was the last part of the conversation between examiner and candidate. And as you have seen, examiner was asking few questions, and these questions were originating from the content which the candidate is speaking. But the answer of the candidate were moderate, not so good. So he will get a score of 6 to 7. Not more than that. Means if he has performed very good in other tests, there are 3 tests apart from this test, so he may get 7. Otherwise, he'll get 6 on this type of performance. So hope you got the idea. This was how the speaking test goes on, and this is how the conversation takes place. So you should be well prepared for the answering should be very good. The questions that they are going to come, so just write it and prepare yourself. Thank you so much. Take care.